Hi, George Moore for Civic Center TV. And as always, we like to be out in the community covering events that are pertinent to what you need to know. We're here at the beautiful campus of Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital in the Ravitz Auditorium. We're here in conjunction with October being National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And that's why we're here. We want to make you aware of the numbers which seem to be staggering in our society for domestic violence. And we'll break it down for you. We'll hear from some speakers who will give you information. And also we'll see the acknowledgement of those, unfortunately, who were victims in Michigan last year of domestic violence. And we will commemorate them. And as I mentioned, to give you some more facts and information about domestic violence and ways that we can alleviate this very, very serious problem going on in our society. So join us today. Silent witness figures carved in the resemblance of a victim of domestic violence were scattered throughout the atrium, each one bearing the name and story of a person whose life ended due to domestic violence. We talked with Brent Davidson, Service Chief for Women's Health Services at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, and asked him about the increase in the number of domestic violence cases.
I think it's not only just that the numbers are going up, but I think it's the public is getting more awareness. Whether you look at the challenges the NFL is dealing with right now, whether it's a high-profile murder case in Detroit right now, whether it's universities dealing with the perhaps their lack of effort and diligence on looking at sexual assault on college campuses, those are in the public limelight right now. So I think it's a problem that's being brought publicly more visibly now, and patients now have an opportunity, and those victims of domestic violence or their family members, we want to make them aware of resources available so that it's not a hidden epidemic like it's been in the past.
We have the opportunity to ask Megan Widman from Haven, a nonprofit organization in Oakland County that assists victims of domestic violence, what may cause domestic violence and what are preventive measures that can be taken.
Well, we know that domestic violence is caused by rigid gender roles, for example. When we raise our young boys that, it's only okay to be one type of boy and that it's not okay to show emotions, and that we raise our young girls in certain ways as well. So we know that from a young age, it's important to teach kids that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to show their emotions, and to teach them ways to cope with feelings of rejection and sadness and fear, so that they don't end up later in life turning to tactics of abuse that we see in the adults.
Anita Posey, a survivor of domestic violence and keynote speaker, spoke to us about being aware of some different signs of domestic violence and about her personal experience.
Well, when a friend or a relative or even a coworker starts to draw away, not involved in all the family activities or things that they used to enjoy, that's a sign. When they're putting on extra makeup over a bruise or a cut, or if they're taking excess time off work. Domestic violence costs employers a lot in absenteeism. When she's favoring a side because she's hurting, or all of a sudden becomes accident prone when she gets with this new guy or after they've been together for a while, because no man starts out abusive. Of course, they're the most charming man that comes along. It's after they've seen that they've got their hooks in her that they start the abuse. And it's a slow, methodical process, much like a predator courts and grooms their prey. The same thing goes for domestic violence. I myself was a victim of domestic violence for 7 years. I was not the typical, or what the world thinks is the typical victim. I worked every day. I worked at social services. I was financially independent, smart, assertive, assured, but somehow or another, I allowed him to break down that person that I was. And with great regret, one night I found myself in a kill or be killed situation, and I wasn't ready to die. So I ended up taking his life.
What we found out here through this program at Henry Ford West Bloomfield is that domestic violence is a growing problem, and as you may or may not have heard, is reached epidemic proportions. So having programs like this today to bring awareness of the situation is where we start, to hopefully alleviate this problem altogether and find ways to deal with it so we have fewer and fewer victims. So the Silent Witness Commemoration Service is just part of that. We hope we've shed some light on this subject and that you'll be able to, if you have to, find the right source to get help if you need. For Civic Center TV, I'm George Moore. If you or anyone you know are the victim of domestic violence, please call Haven of Oakland County. Their toll-free crisis and support number is 877-922-1274, or call their 24-hour crisis and support line at 248-334-1274, or call the National Domestic Violence Helpline toll-free at 800-799-SAFE.